Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
The U.S. strikes Iran. ICE funding restored. Jeep announces a recall, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. President Donald Trump said Wednesday that Iran has taken too long to negotiate a peace deal and will now have to pay the price. Tensions ramped up in the Middle East on Tuesday. U.S. forces struck Iranian targets Tuesday evening, hours after President Trump said Tehran shot down a U.S. Army Apache helicopter patrolling the Strait of Hormuz and vowed America must respond. Both pilots survived and were plucked from the water by an unmanned Navy drone boat, the first rescue of its kind in U.S. military history. Officials said an Iranian drone apparently downed the Apache, though it's unclear whether the strike was deliberate. The incident strains a 2-month ceasefire already under pressure from Israel and Iran trading fire Sunday. Central Command called the response proportional strikes. Meanwhile, Iran has accelerated its executions of dissidents and activists, with the true number of victims likely obscured by the regime's internet censorship and blackout. Since the January uprisings against the regime, Tehran has enforced a bloody clampdown against its opponents. The Iran Human Rights Society has documented 784 executions so far in 2026. A representative from the organization told Fox News Digital that these figures indicate a rapidly accelerating trend in executions since March, and explained that, in particular, the execution of political prisoners has reached a level not seen in the past 37 years. Republicans' sweeping immigration enforcement and border security package cleared the House on Tuesday, ending a months-long standoff with Democrats over funding President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown agenda. The $70 billion immigration enforcement measure passed 214 to 212 over the fierce objections of Democrats, who unanimously voted against the package. Representative Kevin Kiley, an independent who caucuses with Republicans, also joined Democrats in opposing the measure. Meanwhile, every GOP lawmaker present voted for the Senate-passed legislation which funds immigration and customs enforcement and customs and border protection through fiscal year 2029. Tuesday's vote is a major victory for House Speaker Mike Johnson, who could spare just a handful of defections given Republicans' fragile majority. Republican Steve Hilton advanced to California's general election for governor a week after the primary, setting up a November race against Democrat Xavier Becerra. No Republican has won statewide there since 2006. On the other side of the country, Democrat Graham Plattner won Maine's Senate primary Tuesday and will now face Senator Susan Collins in a race that could decide Senate control. Plattner faces several accusations of sexual misconduct and gained national attention for his Nazi swastika tattoo, amid other scandals. The International Criminal Court has suspended its chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, over claims of sexual misconduct in an unprecedented decision. Khan, the British attorney who sought the arrest of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for war crimes in Gaza, stood down from his post on Monday after the court's oversight body referred him for disciplinary proceedings. The 56-year-old is facing allegations of sexual misconduct with a female aide in a scandal that has dragged on for more than 2 years. Social Security's Maine Retirement Trust Fund will run dry in late 2032, 3 months earlier than projected last year, according to the program's annual trustees report released Tuesday. At that point, incoming payroll taxes would cover only 78% of scheduled benefits, meaning automatic reductions unless Congress steps in. For the more than 70 million Americans receiving benefits, checks would shrink by about 22%. The average retiree would lose roughly $500 a month. Congress has two options: bring more money into the program or cut benefits. More than 6 in 10 older Americans already say their checks aren't enough to cover rising costs. Stellantis says it's recalling almost 1.08 million Jeep Wranglers and Gladiators in the U.S. due to a potential fire hazard. The company notified the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration of the recall. The model years involved are 2021 to 2025. Stellantis stated that the Jeeps may have an electrical connection issue in the electric hydraulic power steering pump wiring. In rare circumstances, this may cause combustible materials to overheat, potentially leading to a vehicle fire. NASA announced the names of the 4 astronauts who will take part in the Artemis III mission to space next year. The crew will be made up of Commander Randy Comrade Bresnik, pilot Luca Palmitano, mission specialist Frank Rubio, and mission specialist Andre Douglas. The U.S. hopes to return humans to the moon in 2028. That's the Raw Naked Truth for June 10th, 2026. Remember to like and subscribe to the Raw Naked Truth wherever you listen to podcasts. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.